This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News.
Find out what Governor Walz has to say on his trip to Moorhead and what MSUM has planned to prevent flooding.
CS students gear up for SWAT training.
Meet the dragon behind a viral video that took Twitter by storm.
And find out how NDSU students are smashing their way to victory. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Tanner Robinson.
And I'm Alexis Kennedy. For the second time this month, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz made a stop in Moorhead to talk about the flooding in the Red River Valley.
And as reporter Anthony Frigin found out, the city already has plans in place to stop a disaster from happening.
Concerned local community members packed into the Clay County Law Enforcement Center with one topic on everybody's mind: flooding. It's an emergency so big that the governor had to step in.
We've all been through this before. It will go from being perfect, and these things will happen on sunny, warm days, to being a pretty bad situation very quickly.
We spoke to Governor Walz about the importance of working ahead to stop a flood.
The preemptive sandbagging, getting ahead really matters. We saw it as again down in Hastings. I helped fill some down there. It is important. It draws community together and it brings up awareness.
And that push comes from a local level. And as Moorhead Mayor Jonathan Judd says, it's on everyone to chip in.
It's really imperative that our students, really are actively involved and know that this is a much bigger thing when it comes to our community. It's really important for people to know that we have a lot at stake. It empowers our community when there's volunteerism on a bigger level. So it's a big deal. We don't want to have any issues,
The city says it's going to need almost 150,000 sandbags for this year's flood. But Clay County Sheriff Mark Empting says the city's prepared and ready to fight.
Ready for it. We've done a lot of upgrades since 2009, 10, and 11, and there's without a doubt that we're going to be prepared for this, and we're not going to fail.
As we get closer to flooding season, the governor is warning community members to stay informed.
Take the recommendations incredibly seriously, because we've lost lives, especially in southeast Minnesota, where people think they can drive across flooded roads where it doesn't look like the water's moving that quickly. The overland flooding's not quite as fast, but still those things are a risk, and continue to pay attention as this comes out.
With photographer Tanner Robinson, Anthony Frigin, Campus News.
And as the city of Moorhead preps for the flooding, Minnesota State University Moorhead is also putting plans together. It's been about 10 years since the university was shut down for weeks because of flooding all across the FM area. When floodwaters hit over 40 feet high, it left homes and street corners in complete ruin. We spoke to Public Safety Director Ryan Nelson, who says there are plans in place to prevent another disaster from happening.
So we're just monitoring our sumps and our drains, etc., and we do have plugs in place if we need to plug certain drains on campus. We're not anticipating any of those needs, but we are continuing to monitor as we normally do.
The university is currently asking students and community members to sign up for sandbagging.
When the SWAT team showed up at MSUM, the Criminal Justice Department on campus jumped in with full gear. Reporter Shannon Blumgren caught up with them and learned what it takes to be a first responder.
Team, what it took to get on the team, and kind of
first responders are always there to serve, protect, and defend our city. Not everyone knows about all of the training that goes along with being on the SWAT team. All we want is all you got is only the beginning for students interested in pursuing a career in criminal justice. Students learned about what it takes to be a member of the SWAT team and the risks involved with serving on the force. Erin Sleck is a senior and is president of the Criminal Justice Club on campus. Every chance she gets to learn about the career field, she is right there in the front row.
I think that what was really inspiring to me is just how hard they work. Like, you have to put in the dedication and the time to be a SWAT member, and you actually have to care about what you're doing to be able to stay a part of the SWAT team.
The SWAT team members care enough to protect us and wear equipment that is not easy to wear, especially in the terrible winter conditions. Students in Lohman Hall are getting the unique opportunity to work directly with first responders. This includes trying on equipment that weighs up to 50 pounds. The meeting helps students prepare for what's ahead after they graduate. All of the students are preparing for careers in the justice field. They range from patrol officers to SWAT team members.
The SWAT team presentation was very informative. It was very helpful with everything. Sometimes when you learn about this stuff in school, you don't really get to look at it and like see what you can do, but this really kind of opens the door and shows you that there's more to maybe just being a patrol officer.
Whatever career field they are striving for, the commitment to excellence takes priority. With photographer Branson Reeser, Shannon Blumgren, Campus News.
The Criminal Justice Department's next event includes visiting 2 different prisons in Bismarck at the beginning of April.
A former University of Minnesota employee is looking at jail time for stealing thousands of dollars worth of tech. 34-year-old Michael James McDaniel is accused of stealing over $100,000 in computers from the school. Police say this all happened over the course of a year when he worked as an administrative advisor. Police say he pawned off the computers or sold them on Craigslist. McDaniel will be due back in court on April 8th. An Augsburg University, Minnesota professor is still suspended after using derogatory language in the classroom. Philip Adamo used the N-word when talking about James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time in his English literature class.
Reporter Shannon Blumgren talked with the students about the importance of diversity and the use of language in classrooms at MSUM.
Here in Comstock Memorial Union at Minnesota State University Moorhead, students can find the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. This is a safe place where students can talk about different topics related to diversity and equality. Emily King is a sophomore on campus and works in the Office of Diversity. She talked with us about the sometimes delicate issue of language in the classroom.
Specifically, a really double-edged sword when talking about use of language in literature, because obviously you're looking at it from a historical standpoint, but also there are sensitivity to certain viewers who are in the classroom, and it's very important to take who the students are and what their backgrounds are and being able to relate that into the context of what you're teaching, because it may be historical, but it still can have some very negative connotations.
Every day, MSUM students and faculty may have to deal with topics that could be uncomfortable for many people. But there are those who believe that it is important to have those open discussions.
In some ways, I feel like people are a little bit too sensitive to everything today. And I'm not saying that we should be coarse and rough with everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think we need to look at the bigger picture of things sometimes.
The sensitivity of the conversations dealing with diversity will always be an ongoing issue. However, they are important conversations to have.
Augsburg University says Adamo will be back in the classroom after his suspension ends.
Colleges in the United Kingdom have figured out a way to spot a brain tumor before it is diagnosed. King's College London and Cambridge University found that people may experience subtle changes in their behavior when they have a brain tumor. Dr. Suzanne Scott from King's College found changes in sleep, memory, speaking, concentration, and balance as a few symptoms related to having a tumor. The study shows patients would often disregard the symptoms because of age or stress. Researchers hope this is one more step in the process of diagnosing and treating cancer faster with better outcomes. Earlier in the semester, MSUM Communicators in Action made homemade blankets, and now they're delivering them to Sanford Children's Hospital. They decided to make the blankets as a group project to help premature babies and their families at the Sanford NICU. The group also welcomed other MSUM students to help make as many blankets as possible.
It's just a great way to get a group of students together to get to know each other better in a way that really helps people in our community. Like, we're helping the most vulnerable part of our community. What's not awesome about that?
Sanford and Communicators in Action hope to partner up with more projects in the future.
And Arizona College is changing one of its buildings' names after a generous donation. Arizona State University College of Nursing and Health Innovation will be named to the Edson College of Nursing and Health Innovation. The school made both decisions after Charlene and Orrin Edson gave the school $50 million. The school says that cash will help research funding, expand the college's program to students, and help fund a new nursing center. An MSUM Biosciences student and her professors are being recognized for the research related to fish. Allison Barkheimer, along with professors Brian Wizardin and Sean Garrett, were published in the international publication Journal of Fish Biology. Their research focused on how zebrafish react to predators. The group found that when a zebrafish is being eaten by a predator, it releases a skin extract that warns other zebrafish. The professors involved in the research say collaborating with students is rewarding.
It's constantly a teacher-student activity, and I'm not always the teacher. They're often the teacher too, and I learn from them.
Because the biochemistry of fear in zebrafish is the same as it is in people, the researchers say that work is the first step towards using zebrafish as a model for studying anxiety in humans.
An East Coast College chemist is cashing in on a huge fund for his research. University at Buffalo professor Timothy Cook is the winner of the National Science Foundation Career Award. It's one of the foundation's highest honors. Cook will have over $500,000 to continue his research into self-assembling molecules. Cook says the work he's doing will provide greener solutions for combating climate change. Job searching can seem nerve-wracking for many students.
But with this event, MSUM students were given a chance to practice their perfect pitch. At Perfect Your Pitch, students learn how to create an elevator pitch for future job interviews, whether it be for a summer internship, a post-graduation career, or anything in between. Gage Donovan, an MSUM freshman, shares what he learned and why he believes this event is helpful to students.
I hope to get out of it better elevator speech. Yes, I already have one, but it's always good to have new tips, revamp it, and just hear a different point of perspective, somebody that's in the real world in our area.
This event was hosted to get students more comfortable with networking.
The U.S. offers some of the best computer science programs in the world. New research from Stanford University shows undergraduate computer science programs at universities in the U.S. are starting to produce more skilled students than China, India, and Russia. More than 8,400 students from these countries were given a 2-hour online test that aligns with national and international guidelines. The average U.S. student tested higher than 80% of students in the other countries. The researchers are going to continue their research to look at how skills developed in college and how they do when they get jobs. College radio has long been a part of many campuses.
Raleigh Detloff takes us to where the music plays on at MSUM.
I'm Bright.
Campus radio station KMSC Dragon Radio is a great place for students to get into the radio world. For students like Callie Kapikoff, radio can be lots of fun.
I've been a DJ here since the beginning of the semester.
At Dragon Radio, Kapikoff and other student DJs like her are able to pour their hearts into their shows, bringing their own energy to the table.
My show is called Soup Until Further Notice, and I basically just play mostly alternative pop rock music, and I sometimes read the news, sometimes I have cute animal news.
KMSC Dragon Radio is located on the second floor of Flora Frick Hall on MSUM's campus. It has heads of staff such as Program Director Maxwell Kimball, who has quite the interesting job.
I'm in charge of the DJs, just kind of talk to the DJs, discuss with the DJs, do reconnaissance on the DJs.
A recently released report shows that college radio listenership is on the decline, but that doesn't stop these DJs.
It's fun.
Despite this, Kimball says that stations such as KMSC are still as important as they were back in the day.
It's useful. They experience public speaking, talking on a radio, getting more comfortable, speaking in front of an audience in general, because that's something that a lot of people do need experience with and want experience with. I think that's a lot. And reading the application, that's something a lot that people say that they do want experience with, and that's why they're coming here.
And for students like Kapikoff, it's not just about the clout, it's about the value of the training as well.
It matters to me because it's a really good way for me to get experience in sort of a radio field before going out into the real world, and that's really important to me.
With photojournalist Peter Van Batavia, I'm Raleigh Detloff for Campus News.
Students of all majors and interests are welcome to join the station. Berklee College of Music is recognizing 3 Grammy Award-winning artists for their mark on the industry. The Boston College is awarding honorary degrees to Missy Elliott, Justin Timberlake, and Alex Lacamoire. Elliott is the first female rapper ever inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She'll get her degree when she speaks at the school's commencement in May. Timberlake is best known for going solo after getting his start with the boy band NSYNC. Lacamoire is a composer behind multiple award-winning musicals, including Hamilton and Dear Evan Hansen.
MSUM Dragons rolled into the weekend with a party tailor-made for them. Carnival promised students a night of food, games, and prizes. The Dragon Entertainment Group set up shop inside Nemzik Fieldhouse for 3 hours. The group gives students a chance to set up parties for their friends and classmates. Students we talked with say events like these are a relaxing way to cap off a long week of homework and classes.
It's always a fun experience. Most of the time there's food, that's always a plus. Great atmosphere, students, just a great time to unwind and enjoy yourself.
The Dragon Entertainment Group's next big project is the MSUM Rainbow Royalty Drag Show on April 12th.
Concordia College in Moorhead's German Club is spreading its cultural message through tasty treats. Students sat down and ate German food staples at Fressfest. This event put on every year by the club to celebrate all aspects of German culture. Club member Daniel Kapow says events like this help communicate the message that any culture can be recognized anywhere.
The whole point is just we want to get together, we want to eat some German food and just kind of celebrate that we all have this common interest in German culture, both within the United States and abroad.
Throughout the year, the German Club hosts various events promoting its culture. Students of NDSU are staying on campus to do more than just study on weekends. Some of them are testing their skills in a popular fighting video game.
I discovered these students are having a smashing good time. NDSU students are putting their game faces on and have their eyes glued to the screen in intense battles. The playing field? The video game Super Smash Bros. They're playing two different versions of the game, Brawl and the latest edition, Ultimate. This tournament welcomes all kinds of players, ranging from those who have played for a long time to those who haven't had much experience with the game, like NDSU student Jacob Nelson.
I'm doing it. I've been playing Smash since Ultimate came out, so I'm relatively new, about 3 months or so.
Nelson says he didn't have the best experience with the game at first, but it got much better as it went on.
It took me a couple days later when we were playing to finally win a match, and it was the best thing ever because I finally beat someone, and I wasn't just gonna be constantly beat all the time. And then, yeah, that was cool.
Tournament organizers say they are glad about the turnout because of the game's popularity and high student demand.
It's kind of hard to tell if you're going to have 100 people show up or 30 people show up. It really depends on different factors, but it's a nice night and students are here having fun and they get to casually play without any time constraints, so that's really the best thing we can ask for.
I'm glad I didn't get blanked that one time at least.
Students say video game tournaments like these are great for building friendships and bonds because they know when it comes to a competition, it's anyone's. The winner of the tournament received a grand prize of 2 new gaming headsets. And speaking of tournaments, the NDSU men's basketball team had its NCAA dreams dashed after their big game with Duke, but the match drew in a crowd of millions. 6.2 million people tuned in to see the Bison take on the #1 ranked Blue Devils, making it the most watched sporting event in NDSU history. It easily shattered the old record of 2.1 million from 2015 when the Bison faced off against Gonzaga.
An athlete at MSUM spent his free time trying to make his friends laugh. He had no idea that his efforts would go viral.
See you later.
Dragons basketball player Gavin Baumgartner was having a little trouble with a pothole outside his house this winter, so he decided to have a little fun with the annoyance. The tweet got over 300 retweets and nearly 3,000 likes in less than 12 hours.
I went out and I put my phone just on my car and then recorded it. Just jumped in with my boots on, and then we thought it was just gonna be a funny video on Twitter. But
his roommate Isaac Bartholomew used After Effects to create the illusion of Baumgartner disappearing into the pothole.
Basically, I just had to cut Gavin out and then move him down below the puddle, basically, and then add another layer on top so he disappears when he goes in the water.
Local media outlets instantly picked up on the story and used it to raise awareness about pothole issues around the Fargo-Moorhead area.
The American Athletic Conference is getting a big payday after reaching an agreement with ESPN. Their media rights deal is worth $1 billion over 12 years. With a new deal in place, the conference will earn an average of $83.3 million per year. That's about 4 times what it's making every year right now. The agreement will begin the 2020-21 academic school year and go through the 2032-33 academic year.
As the school year winds down at Minnesota State University Moorhead, a chance to recognize Dragon athletes and all they have accomplished. Reporter Nick Napper was there to see the honors.
Winning isn't the most important thing in life, but celebrating achievements is never a bad idea. In Comstock Memorial Union, on the campus of MSUM, Dragon Athletics held their annual sports award banquet.
Let's give all of our award winners a round of applause.
Athletic Director Doug Peters, along with his staff, hosts this event to celebrate athletes from all of MSUM sports.
All our student athletes get together and we get to celebrate our successes in the field of competition and in our normal everyday lives as students and as people.
The event had dad jokes.
Leticia Estevez Rodovallo, see? You can't time it out, right? There's long names. Gotcha on that one.
Laughs. And a feeling of being part of something bigger.
Logan Bruce.
All NSIC senior basketball player Trayvon Code says that being a Dragon is more than just sports.
Being a Dragon means to me just you got to do the right things. Every time, I just know coming here and just being with the people I've been with, you just know, understand you got to, everything you do always got to be the right thing. You always know what that is in the back of your head. That's what it is to be a Dragon.
As for most seniors, this is going to be the last time they hear their name as a Dragon.
We always talk about athletics as the front porch of the university. We're the most visible part of the university just because of the nature of sports. And I think they've done a fantastic job of setting the standards about how we represent MSUM and what it means to be a Dragon.
Just off the court, I feel like just learning from other people, I just feel like I became more of a man. And just learning, you got to hold yourself accountable and be responsible. I think the coaches helped me with that a lot.
Though the year is coming to an end, there are still spring sports to be played. With photographer Jacob Tenson, I'm Nick Napper, Campus News Sports.
The Dragons had a great year, starting with the football team playing in the Mineral Water Bowl and ending with the women's basketball team making it to the NCAA Division II Women's Basketball Tournament. This is our 35th year on Prairie Public Television. To mark the occasion, we are looking at some of the most memorable stories from our past.
With flooding a concern, we are taking a look back at the last major flood that hit the FM area in 2009. Reporter Kyle Johnson has two stories, one on students filling sandbags and another on where some of those bags ended up.
It's late into the night at the Fargo Dome, and each scoop, each twist, and each toss is becoming ever more important as the record crest of the Red River looms just 24 hours away.
People are they're pushing through it. They're not taking as many breaks, that's for sure. We've been working nonstop. And I haven't had water for the last 2 hours straight here, so it's definitely intense.
For Lane Nelson, it's day 5 of volunteering as he passes sandbags to trucks. He's been at it for 7 hours today. And just a few feet away, Jessica Mack is filling those bags at a back-breaking pace.
I think I stacked 10 pallets right in a row.
Oh my gosh.
And that was just in an hour or two, so.
A feat that's hard to imagine considering Jessica's spring break days earlier was a week of work helping a community in the South recover from a flood of their own.
It is kind of ironic. It was called a Pay It Forward trip, and so we're just kind of like, well, what we're doing here, hopefully somebody comes and helps us out because we knew the flood was going to be here when we got back.
It's volunteers like Lane and Jessica who are joining the thousands here tonight at the Fargo Dome for one last push to save the city.
It's a big deal because, as you probably know, the flood prediction was raised up, so we got to get the dikes and everything built up more. So it's definitely crucial.
If one person's house gets saved because of the sandbags I filled, I'd be happy.
Just 2 more heroes out of thousands who wear their back pain and blisters as a badge of honor and proof that a city can pull together.
This year we're bagged to 41 feet. That's what we were told when we did it. Now people are bagging to 42.
Jim Ford moved to his house on the banks of the Red River for the views. But today things are looking far more ominous, and that has him worried.
It's a tremendous concern. It's an emotionally trying and exhausting time.
But it's a time that's been made easier by the steady hands and open hearts of volunteers.
The Concordia people saved us in 1997, and they've been here throughout the week as well in 1-hour shifts.
It took more than 40 volunteers 2.5 hours and 550 of these sandbags to make this dike to protect the Fords' home.
We have many friends, but not only friends, but strangers who are willing to give of their time and their muscles to help us. It's just hard to fathom.
The daunting work doesn't end outdoors for the Fords. Inside, they've had to move precious family mementos from the basement for safekeeping.
We have pictures of my home in Wisconsin and my parents' lumber and trucking business. They're all really meaningful.
The sandbagging, the shuffling of belongings, it's all a long process that wears on the body and spirit, holding back tears while holding back a relentless flood.
We cry about it. I'm not ashamed to say that.
It was hard for me when the Salvation Army truck came by. I mean, we've given to the Salvation Army, you know, every chance we've been asked, or for memorials, for funerals and things. Yeah. And then think all of a sudden we're on the other side of that. It was very moving for me.
Unforgettable memories from an unforgiving spring. Kyle Johnson, Campus News.
In 2009, the Red River crested at 40.8 feet in Fargo on March 28th.
And that's it for this edition of Campus News. We leave you with another look at the carnival in Nemzik Fieldhouse.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.